Imagine, if you will, that we all lived in San Francisco and we wanted to come over to Fairfax. And the first thing you do would take a ferry boat. We'd go down to the ferry building in San Francisco and get on a ferry boat. Not this particular boat. This is the boat that was tied up in Sausalito as the trade fair for many years. It serves the purpose of illustrating the kind of boat. This was the Berkeley. The Berkeley is now down in San Diego, tied up as a museum piece. If you're ever down in San Diego, go along the waterfront and you'll spot it. Now, the next slide will show us what we see when we arrive in Sausalito. On the left is a ferry boat that just came in, and on the right is the picnic train that's getting ready to depart and go to Fairfax. Fairfax was a pretty prominent, popular place in the early days, starting even in the very first year of railroading, 1875. The first picnic was in April of 1875, and it was so wild they decided maybe they shouldn't do that anymore. But they increased their police power for the next few months of picnicking and kept the crowds under control. As we're going up the valley, we come into San Anselmo in the 1900s. This depot was later replaced by another one. Look up towards Red Hill and notice the lack of trees. They hadn't gotten around to planting all the eucalyptus trees that proliferate through California. The train to the right is going off to San Rafael, and the tracks to the left are going to Fairfax. The next slide will be a little later in time, probably in the 30s. Trains were usually two-car trains, and you had to be sure you got in the right train because they would split here, and one car would head for San Rafael and one for Fairfax. So you wanted to be sure you were on the right train, the right car. The next stop after San Anselmo at Yolansdale. Part of this platform is still there at Yolanda. And the next stop would be Lansdale. That building just over the car is still there. And this was quite an active little community. They had their own post office. They had several stores there. It was pretty active. It must have been because of having their own post office. That's Pastore Station right there. And this is Pastore Road going into what later became the Town and Country Club. In fact, it was Town and Country probably when this train was going through. This is the school train heading for Tam High School. In those days, all the kids in Ross Valley went to Tam High School. They were segregated cars. They had cars for boys, cars for girls, and cars for mixed couples.